Live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, this is Fantasy Dominance Now. Come dominate fantasy sports with us. And bringing you all the tools to dominate is Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountant. Give them a call, schedule an appointment, 215-369-3300. They're located at 301 Oxford Valley Road, Yardley, Pennsylvania. Happy Waiver Claim Tuesday, everybody. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Our panel, the young buck over here, Mikey Kleinkoff. We got the master tactician, Brian Daly. And I'm the wily old veteran, Rob Povey. I got to call it like it is. Matt Tensudi is bringing you all of the fantasy dominance from the producer's chair. What up, gentlemen? How'd you fare in week 4?
3-1. I'll take it.
Nice.
Yep.
Blowing guys out, that's all.
Yeah, I blew a lot. Not me. But, blew a lot of guys out this week, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Be careful at your verbiage there, Michael.
But then again, my one league, I got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed.
Oh, that's then the ups and downs of the season.
That's what happens when you don't have a starting running back. I have Jonathan Stewart and Doug Martin who both went down in the same week, so I've been screwed ever since. So what can you do?
Yeah.
Been trying. I got Odell Beckham. I'm trying to move him for maybe a number 1 back. I don't even care at this point.
Yeah, Odell Beckham, on a downswing, he's constantly getting double covered, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Me, 2-0, back on the winning train, which was good. The week off did me well. It didn't do me well, and here's the bad news. It didn't do me well in our station pick. I'm 4-11 this week, fellas.
Ooh, I sucked it up. What? I didn't even get a chance to look this week. So
I don't even care, though. I don't even care because my mighty beatdown of Doug Fresh for our fantasy championship was worth it all. I actually had him waving the white flag Saturday night. It was like, yeah, baby. Love you, Doug.
There you go. I wish I could have been competing this week, but
Well, you were. You competed for the number 1 pick, which you did win in my league. Very nice.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, and with your keepers, your 3 pitchers, you can really build a dynamite team for next year.
Exactly. I'll have to see. I still got some executive choices I have to make, and
yeah,
we'll see what my GM says.
Absolutely, and Brian may be joining the show next week. It's going to be a great year in 2017.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Well, hey, if you out there want in on the dominance, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search a2dradio.com. Now, if you got specific fantasy questions, tweet at us with the hashtag AskFDN. I'm at RobbieBLTZ. Mike, you are?
Mike_Kleinkoff.
And Brian?
Brian_A2D Radio.
Absolutely. You can tweet directly to us or to the station. Just make sure you hashtag AskFDN. We'll get to your answers live on the show, or if you're listening to the recording and we are long gone from the studio, we'll definitely hit you up on Twitter to set you up strong for week 5. Speaking of the show, we got a great one in store for you all. We're going to review week 4 and give our fantasy studs and duds. We're going to give you the latest injury news, and waiver claim advice, as it is Waiver Claim Tuesday, getting those in before the witching hour tonight for Wednesday morning. We're going to preview a little fantasy hockey as we're drafting in our Dynasty League. We're going to talk some rankings, going to talk about where guys went in our draft. Hopefully that'll shed some light for all of you out there who, you've been long out of fantasy baseball. You're 1-3 in fantasy football, not looking too good. You got to, fill the fix somewhere.
Hey, man, I'm back to 2-2 in fantasy football, so I'm happy.
Nice.
Yeah, 3-1 in 2 leagues, 2-2 in others. So
that's what we do, man. We dominate. Now, first, we're going to dive right in. We're going to change it up a little bit this week. We're going to dive right into our fresh or stale for week 5. These are guys that you should definitely start or guys that are going to seriously disappoint you on the stale side. We asked you on Facebook, who will be the fantasy football stud of week 5? We gave you a couple options: Amari Cooper versus San Diego, Julian Edelman at Cleveland, Carson Wentz at Detroit, and other, which certainly got some responses there. Certainly we'll get to right away. I know I went with Carson Wentz. Brian, you went with
Julian Edelman in the return of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I went Amari Cooper. I think he needs to show up.
Yeah.
And against a weaker San Diego defense, I think it's time for him to show up. Especially with Crabtree's performance last week, they might start to put the double on Crabtree, which is going to leave Amari Cooper open.
You're burned either way.
Yeah.
You double up Amari, then Crabtree blows you up, and he blew him up this week.
Yeah.
They make that switch. I mean, Amari Cooper's a stud. I think that's a great pick. San Diego did limit Breeze in the air and some of his wide receivers this week, so it could go either way. But I mean, how could you go wrong with Amari Cooper as fantasy stud?
Oh yeah,
definitely. Brian, you're going Julian purely based on the Brady factor?
Well, not just that. He's going up against Cleveland. This is like the perfect opportunity, perfect game for Brady to come back in. Cleveland does have a pretty good pass defense, but for the most part, Tom Brady's just going to come in. He's going to spend probably the first quarter getting back in the swing of things, getting back to the speed, and then he's just going to come out in the second quarter, second half, and just start firing. Edelman's going to find his way to get open. I mean, he's got 196 receiving yards so far, 31 rushing yards. Not Julian Edelman-like, but he didn't exactly have his quarterback throwing to him.
Well, it's like me being a Gronk owner too. He's got 1.6 points in the 2 games that he's played. So, as much as I hate Tom Brady, for fantasy-wise, I'm happy to see him back.
Yeah,
because I need some tight end help with Gronk there.
The guy I'm playing this week has Julian Edelman, so I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong. But at the same time, it's the New England Patriots. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going to come in. He's going to do his thing.
Oh yeah,
he's going to find his receivers.
Here's my question. There's a lot of talk, on the fantasy football groups out there, in the basements where people hide, where the cockroaches hide, like myself. There's a little talk that Chris Hogan Julian Edelman will always be a favorite underneath target for Tom Brady, but Chris Hogan may be the wide receiver to own in terms of the deep ball and touchdowns. Any validity to that, or is that a myth like Hulk Hogan in the WWE?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with Hogan at all. I've been keeping my eyes on some other players.
Well, there's a reason for that because he's done squadouche. He's done squadouche with Garoppolo. He's done squadouche with Brissett.
Except for the first game, I think he had 2 catches for like the 53 yards or something, but other than that, he hasn't done anything. But like you said, you're going to bring back maybe the best quarterback in the game.
Right.
And it's only going to rise his stock up. So.
Right. Well, it's purely conjecture at now. Like I said, it's just people theorizing that Chris Hogan fantasy stock will make an uptick, but it's certainly not going to be a stud level like Julian Edelman. Now, fellas, I went with Carson Wentz, local boy, and I know I'm making a lot of Eagles fans proud right now by picking this guy, but there's legitimate reasons. It's not just a homer pick. Basically, when it breaks down to it, he's at the Lions, who just let up 302 yards and 2 touchdowns to Brian Hoyer. Brian flippin' Hoyer, and have given up the second most points to opposing QBs. Plus, it's the Eagles after a bye. Lock it up, man. Lock it up.
I mean, that secondary is garbage. I don't think the Lions have anything that's good right now. The running game is terrible. The receiving game is terrible. The front 7 on the defense is terrible. I mean, this is typical Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
To say the least.
No,
I remember when that defense was feared. Now it's like we're happy to play him. Yeah, exactly. But you know what, though? You can't really downgrade Brian Hoyer too much. I mean, he's an upgrade from Jay Cutler, I could tell you that.
Yeah.
I think Jay Cutler has lost his job in Chicago, to be honest. I mean, one performance might be good enough, and he's going to have another performance again this week against the Colts. So, to me, I think Brian Hoyer might shine again.
Yeah,
it's a weaker Colts defense.
It's a distinct possibility. It's definitely a distinct possibility. It's going to have to see how it goes. But, I mean, this is a great bridge to go right into Fresh or Stale. Like I said, we're starting off the show right with fantasy advice for Week 5 in the NFL. And Fresh or Stale is brought to you this week by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call, 856-889-3434, or look them up online, scanzanosports.com, as my 2 cohorts over there are being very sheepish about their list, hiding their picks. I already started off.
Hide nothing. That's out in the open. Anybody want to look, they can look.
Nice. Well, I mean, I already talked about my fresh play, and that's Carson Wentz. Like I said, I mean, he's put up fantasy numbers galore so far, even in coming off a tough matchup against Pittsburgh Steelers before the bye, still put up monster numbers in that matchup. 23 for 31, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, playing far above his rookie status. So he's definitely a fresh play. Mikey, who's your fresh quarterback this week?
I think it's easy. It's Tom Brady. Welcome,
right out the chute.
Welcome back, and he's got a great favorable matchup against Cleveland. So, I mean, like you said, Cleveland's defense is actually shockingly not too bad this season, but they are still 0-4. They lost a lot of close games, but I mean, last week Jordan Reed himself had 2 touchdown passes. I mean, if Kirk Cousins is throwing a lot of touchdown passes on you, then you're screwed. So, I mean, Tom Brady, he knows what to do. This is, Gronk's going to be fully healthy. Obviously, he's going to want to play more now. You've got Bennett, who's been lighting it up. Edelman's going to be there. You still got Amendola and Hogan. So that whole offense, all the white boys, man. It might be the only team that I think all their main wide receivers, tight end, and the quarterback is all white.
Hey, even James White's going to benefit from having him
Even
back.
James White.
Sorry.
Even lowly James White, who can't catch a ball to save his life.
Yeah, I want Deion Lewis back.
Yeah, he's a placeholder for Deion Lewis. But, I mean, James White sometimes can be a sneaky matchup depending on the matchup. Brian, who's your fresh quarterback this week?
Believe it or not, I'm agreeing with you here, Rob. It's Carson Wentz. And it's a no-brainer. This Giants defense is just, like I said, hot garbage, and Carson Wentz is going to have another field day.
I agree. I really do think. I think they should blow him out of the water, but you never know. Teams that you think you should beat, you normally don't.
What do they say in the NFL? Any given Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who expected what happened with the Eagles versus Steelers?
Yeah.
I mean, some of our expert analysis here did, but the masses didn't. And a lot of times, hey, we're giving you the best advice based on the numbers, based on our eye test. About 95% of the time it works out that way, but you got to account for that other 15 to 5%.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that coming from
You're
the
telling
Eagles
me.
at all. To shut Big Ben down like they did.
Right.
They look good on the first drive.
Yeah.
They looked real good. Marcus Wheaton drops a pass in the end zone, and the field goal gets blocked, and that's where it all went downhill for us.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, we looked solid. But then, the second drive came, and we were screwed.
Yeah.
So
I know you weren't too plain happy with that, but you did have a redemption Sunday, and we'll get into that when we review Week 4.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I saw this greatest meme was a picture of the game, and then it had the video game little box that said, Kansas City Chiefs have left the game.
That's pretty much what happened. I mean, after
it was
certain
36
point,
to nothing at one point.
It was 22 to nothing after
in
the first quarter.
That was a franchise record, by the way, for the Pittsburgh Steelers to score 22 points in the first quarter.
Nice.
So,
wow, that's in their long,
Yeah, it's 33.
And what's crazy is Kansas City's supposed to have this great, phenomenal defense.
After the week
and
against the Jets,
nothing. There's nothing there.
Jesus Christ. I really didn't expect that, especially after what they did to the Jets the week before. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we'll have plenty of time to review what happened last
yes.
week. We'll stick with you, Brian, since we picked the same fresh player. Let's see if we pick the same stale player for quarterback.
Mine's Matt Stafford.
Jesus.
I mean, come on. You're going up against a really tough Eagles defense who shut down Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, they were.
I don't like this. You guys are on page today.
Yeah. He hasn't done much this year. Last week he threw for 213 yards, 2 picks. He ran twice for 17 yards. He's just going to have a tough time against this Philly defense.
Yeah. And, I mean, coming off a game against the Bears where a lot of people were expecting him to light it up, 213 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the day. I obviously went with him as my stale play, too, sticking in that same game. It was only good for 8 fantasy points. And let's not forget, Philadelphia has given the least amount of points to opposing quarterbacks so far in the young season. So I think this is a lock. You got 2 of the panels here going Matt Stafford. You got to sit him. You got to go for another option, whether that be Dak Prescott in a tough game in Cincinnati, as we were talking about before the show.
I would rather start Dak Prescott. I mean, I think he's got a better situation here. At least he's got some guys to throw to.
Well, hey, maybe talking about Chicago, a little preview to our waiver wire advice. Maybe you pick a little Brian Hoyer to start over Matt Stafford this way. Maybe. I don't know what to get to that.
Hey,
Mikey,
it's a favorable matchup in my eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's your stale quarterback, Mike?
Mine's Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's horrible.
What, 8 interceptions?
9.
9 in the last 2 games?
9 in the last 2 games. I mean, he is playing the Steelers this week, which, their pass defense isn't the greatest. But, I mean, come on. 9 interceptions in your last 2 games. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if more quarterbacks have all the quarterbacks in the league probably have a less total than that.
Right.
I don't think Eric Decker's injured at all anyway. I think he's like, oh, this guy sucks.
I need Eric Decker to be back on the field, though. Not this week, but the following week I'll take him back.
I'm just saying,
he's
being
just,
a dick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is just absolutely awful.
As well
right
as you
now.
should be.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. 9 interceptions in 2 games, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you're losing one of your favorite targets here, Eric Decker, and I think it's going to be long-term. They're being very sheepish about it, week to week, but...
It's a clavicle or something, right? His shoulder?
Yeah, we'll get to it, absolutely, later in our injury. I'll get to you right now. You want to know it now? I'm sure the people want to know it now.
I want to know it now, damn it. I'm pretty sure it's like the clavicle or
I do too,
something
kind
of injury
playing this
with
week
his shoulder. Pretty sure anyway.
Yeah.
But
if my computer wants to cooperate, I'll let you know right now. Oh, that's right. I can't quick reference him because I just traded him. I set up a trade before the news broke about his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And I got LeGarrette Blount for him.
Oh, man. That's good. You know what, though, that happened to
Please sing. That's why I'm the wily old veteran.
My manager at work, he accepted the trade before he heard the Sammy Watkins news.
Right.
So he was giving away A.J. Green and somebody else for Howard and Sammy Watkins.
No.
So he was like, "You're fired if you don't veto the trade." So,
no doubt about it.
Especially after the game that AJ Green had.
I should have nailed this right off the bat. He's got a partially torn rotator cuff.
Okay.
So often in that situation, surgery is necessary. Now they're trying to see, they're saying it week to week to give him rest to see if maybe, since it's only a partial, maybe it can repair itself enough. It's not like he's often throwing the ball. It's more catching. Maybe he can play through the pain. But I think they're just delaying the inevitable, to putting him on an IR and having surgery.
Yeah, they're saying it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah. Well, moving on to some good situation players, we're going to move to the fresh category for running back, and I'm going to go with a wild card here. I'm going with Terrence West versus Washington, who's 30th in the league and giving up fantasy points to opposing running backs. And Terrence West coming off a strong game in the absence of Justin Forsett, bust out Justin Forsett, had 113 yards against a tough Oakland defense and 1 touchdown on the game. I'm saying, he's a fresh start this week. Kenneth Dixon will eventually own that job. I don't think he's ready to own that job yet, so I think West has at least 1 to 2 more weeks of strong fantasy relevance, so that could be a quick add for right now.
Yeah, they're saying Dixon is going to be more passing game right now, but he will get some touches as far as running goes.
Sure, absolutely.
I like it.
Absolutely. Who's your fresh running back, M.I.A?
I mean, this is more the obvious, but DeMarco Murray. He's been one of the hottest running backs in the league this year. I mean, he's going up against a Miami defense who isn't really, the orange crush that they were supposed to be. But, yeah, I mean, DeMarco Murray, obvious choice there.
Fair enough. Brian?
Believe it or not, I'm actually going with Todd Gurley this week.
Okay.
I think he's got a really good opportunity against a weak rushing defense in Buffalo. He hasn't done much, but he needs to get going, and I think this could be a confidence boost for him. And like I said, Buffalo's rushing defense isn't very good.
He has been, on the, trending more towards the upside lately in the past 2 weeks, and eventually Gurley's going to turn it on. Brian saying it's
only a matter
of
time. I think it is going to be this week.
Yeah,
I hope so. Really hope so.
LA's what, 3-1 now?
Yeah, they are. They're actually
surprisingly
they're winning their division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get the tiebreaker over Seattle by beating Seattle, right?
Yeah, so I mean,
it's disgusting.
I think that's the one thing. I think that's the one thing that's really holding them back is the lack of running game. And I think this is going to be the game where it gets started.
Yeah, Case Keenum has been playing serviceably, no doubt about it. Let's go to the stale side. Who do you got in running back, Brian?
Latavius Murray.
Yeah, bad matchup.
Unfortunately, I'm stuck starting him this week because I don't have another running back to put in. But he's got a running back by committee now. DeAndre Washington and Jalen Richards are all getting time too, but steering clear from Latavius Murray is going to be that move. I mean, he's got 3 touchdowns on the year. Yeah, that's great, but he's not running the ball at all.
Right. Yeah, they're more of a pass offense team too.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, he in 8 attempts last week, he had 19 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, like I said, the splitting time with 2 other guys is it's hurting his reps.
Oh, big time, bro. I'm not a big Latavius Murray. I felt like I've been picking on him lately, so that was my actually first instinct to go on the stale side. But I in turn went with another guy, and this is going to be a surprise, Matt Jones. He's going at Baltimore. I know what you're thinking. Matty put up, $1.17 and a touch. Time to get him in the lineup, right? No, slow your roll. Baltimore gives up the fourth least points with a mean front seven. I mean, you got T. Sizzle up on that in that linebacking core who's playing like 5 years as younger, probably from his guest role on Ballers, as I mentioned that show every week. We broadcast here at the BMW Atlantic City studios. But yeah, I mean, you got Mosley, you got Doomerville on the other side, who's great at getting at the quarterback as well as run defense. And that line is very unheralded with Juergen, Williams, and Guy. So I mean, I don't know. I think absolutely. Matt Jones, if you have the availability to sit him this week, I would sit him. Who are you saying to sit, Mikey?
Ryan Matthews
for
the Eagles. I mean, granted, it is Detroit's defense, but they spread the ball way too much between however many 4 or 5 running backs that they have that they bring into the game. And he is also questionable this week, so not really sure if he is even going to get the start. But Ryan Matthews, I think he had like 34 rushing yards against the Steelers, and Sproles outran him, and he's not even worth having really on your team.
Absolutely. He will be far from a fancy stud this week, but we do have our Twitter poll out on the station's Twitter page at A2DRadio_com. You can vote now. We'll get to who you say is your fancy stud for week 5 in the NFL, or who will be that indeed. Now, moving on to the wide receiver position, my fresh play this week, Sterling Shepard at Green Bay. Believe it or not, Green Bay's actually given up the second most points to wide receivers, and teams are just committed to taking out, as we said in the opening, OBJ. I mean, he has no response so far to those double coverages, which is leaving a lot of catches for Sterling Shepard. Not so much last night against a tough Vikings defense, but his 4 or 5 points was enough to give me a narrow victory as I won in my league by, I think it was 90 to 85. I texted my buddy. I was like, that was the Loser's Bowl. I hope you realized that, because that was I'll take a win's a win, but when you win with only 90 points, that's really a loss. Let's just call it like it is. Mikey, who's your fresh play for wide receiver?
I like Jordan Matthews this week. I'm sticking with the Eagles offense. Matthews against Detroit's defense, who, is not good at the pass defense at all. But I really have this sick feeling that Philly's going to light him up this week, and Carson Wentz to Matthews is going to be a great combination this week.
All day.
Did we match, Brian?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, we didn't. Not this time. I got Eddie Royal from Chicago.
I love him.
Coming off a game where he went 7 for 7 for 111 and a touchdown against the Lions' weak secondary. He's going up against Indy's weak secondary this week, so I think he's going to have another field day.
What did I say when he was at 9%? You should have picked him up. Or 0.9% on the waiver wire. You should have picked him up.
He's at 15% now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got my eye on him. Hopefully none of the guys in my league are listening.
Maybe he's
too
a
late.
wire pickup for me.
Me too.
Oh, man.
See, we match.
On the stale side, I'm going to go against Maurice Jones-Drew's boy, and that's Stephon Diggs versus Houston, who's given up the second least points in fantasy football to opposing wide receivers. I mean, Stephon Diggs has been held under 10 points 2 consecutive weeks, and Bradford's shown he's interested in spreading out the ball to the likes of Charles Johnson. And we actually had a little Cordell Patterson sighting last night on Monday Night Football. So, Diggs started off hot. He was, the hot pup out there. I'm saying he's stale as day-old cheese this week. So if you can afford, bench him in your fantasy league. Mikey, who you got on the stale side?
Oh, man, let's see here. I'm going to go with his favorite wide receiver, and that's Torrey Smith this week against Arizona.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Any particular reason why?
I don't know.
He sucks.
That's
all the reason you need. Torrey Smith sucks. Absolutely. Brian, who do you got on the stale side?
I got Tajay Sharp. I think it's about time we
stop the hype.
He's only had one game where he's put up more than 5 points. On the season, he's got 172 yards, no touchdowns. He's been nothing short of a disappointment for Tennessee, and they expect a lot out of him.
In terms of the ad drop trends right now, I think he's on the top 5 in terms of most dropped.
He is. Yeah. I'm actually on the verge of dropping him myself.
Mariota hasn't been as great as he was supposed to be in his sophomore season, so.
No, I mean, but you got Kendall Wright coming back, so that's going to hurt his targets a little bit.
Yeah.
Delaney Walker's been his favorite target so far.
He needs to be his favorite target this week, I can tell you that much. Because I need him to show up. But
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going to the tight ends. You've all been stashing him, just dying to throw him in your lineup. He faked this all out last week. He should be good to go in Week 5 versus the Cowboys D that never covers the tight end, and that's the infamous Notre Dame product, Tyler Eifert. I think he's just going to light it out right up the gate. He's nice and healthy now. Dallas is giving up the 3rd most points to opposing tight ends. So definitely no fear. Start him right away. Mikey, who do you got for your fresh tight end?
I like the pita bread, Dennis Pitta. Yeah, I mean, against Washington's weaker defense, I mean, Flacco, that's his favorite boy, man. And he keeps throwing them to him week by week. And, he's been great. Especially like daily fantasy, too. He's been averaging at least 10 points a game. So it's pretty good for a cheaper value for him.
Would you in that same matchup, he's going against Washington and Jordan Reed, who's coming off a monster game. Would you ever consider starting Pitt over Reed with a better matchup, or no, not a chance?
I would probably still take Reed.
Yeah.
I would definitely prefer Reed, but
I'm asking you because your whole list is corresponding to my my fantasy football team in our league, so I'm getting advice from you without you realizing it. Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
It'd be great if I was matched up against you this
I was
week.
gonna say I don't think I'm playing you, so it's okay.
No, I'm going against Picasa.
Yeah.
Brian, who's your fresh tight end this week?
Mine's a bit of a shocker, but I think he could have a good game against San Diego, and that's Hunter Henry from San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 games this year, he's got 153 yards. He's got 1 touchdown. With Phillip Rivers starting to light it up, and not having Antonio Gates and not having Keenan Allen,
right?
It's going to open up opportunities for other players, and I think he could have a good week this week.
Agreed. Moving quickly right to the stale side. I'm saying sit Kyle Rudolph versus Houston. I'm picking on another Vikings product here, but he's got touchdowns in 3 straight games, so it's kind of hard to bench him. But Houston also gives up the 4th least points to tight end. So after a good game last week, I expect Kyle Rudolph to put up another clunker this week. Moving on to team defense, I'm saying my fresh play is the Steelers defense. Yay, Mikey. Versus it's versus the Jets, who are just a turnover machine right now. So they expect the Steelers to get mad points for you this week, and they're not owned in all leagues. They're roughly about maybe 40-50% of leagues, so they may be available in yours. My stale defense is the Bengals D at Dallas. They were a great streamer last week versus Miami, but the Cowboys are just not turning the ball over right now, minus Tony Romo, and we'll discuss that later. But they're giving up the 6th least points to opposing defenses. So, Bengals are a strong defense, but on the road, I would say try to look for another option to stream this week. Gentlemen, fresh or stale defenses?
I went fresh defenses, Tennessee. I think Dick LeBeau's defense will figure out Miami's offense, which really hasn't been very high-powered that they were supposed to be. And my stale defense, I think, is obvious with Detroit against Philly. I'm really high on Philly's offense this week against Detroit. So.
Absolutely.
I actually got the Eagles defense start them this week against Detroit's lackluster offense, which can't seem to get anything going. And then believe it or not, sit Denver's defense this week against Atlanta.
I saw that, and I was thinking about that. It's a bad matchup for Denver, but could you sit Denver's defense, though?
I would be scared.
I would be scared to start them. This offense in Atlanta is probably the hottest offense in all of football.
They're the number 1 offense in the league.
Matt Ryan's coming off a game where he threw for over 500 yards. Julio Jones is coming off a game where he just caught for 300 yards. Come on. I don't think there's a choice here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be starting Denver's defense after that.
No doubt about it. You guys are complete with defenses?
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Moving on to the kicker position before we hit the break. I'm saying you start Adam Vinatieri versus Chicago. He's straight killing it right now. And I'm going to say a popular fresh kicker, I'm putting in the stale category, Dan Bailey versus Cincinnati. He's dealing with a back injury, so he's questionable right now. He's been playing through it. It has affected his performance a little bit, and Cincinnati gives up low amount of points to opposing kickers. So I'm saying the combination of that, look for another kicker this week. Mikey, who's your fresh or stale?
Fresh kickers, Justin Tucker against Washington. I think there's going to be more options for field goal opportunities than the extra point opportunities, but my stale kicker is Gostkowski against Cleveland because I think he's going to have more extra point opportunities than he would field goal opportunities. So,
Understood.
My fresh kicker is Nick Folk against Pittsburgh. For obvious reasons, team can't seem to get in the end zone. If they can at least get him in the field goal range, Nick Folk can do his thing. And then my stale is Mike Nugent against Dallas. I think Dallas's defense will keep this team shut down a little bit.
Just stay away from kickers in that game altogether.
Pretty much.
Down in Jerry's world.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's fresh or stale for Week 5 in the NFL. We're going to get back to Week 4 in the NFL on the other side, review all the ins and outs, pick our fantasy stud and dud of Week 4, and definitely later on in the show, we're getting into some fantasy injury news and waiver claim advice. But first, I want to tell you about the sponsor of our studio, and that's BMW of Atlantic City. They've challenged its sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive. Just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37 on the Garden State Parkway, or check them out online. BMWAtlanticCity.com. We'll catch you on the other side. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Hey, do you consider yourself the next Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, or Jordan Spieth? Well, head on out on November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey for A2DRadio.com's first ever Real Talk Invitational. $125 per person to enter, teams up to 4 members, and it includes all you can eat and drink, and contests including longest drive, putting competition, closest to the pin, and the hole-in-one contest. Once again, it's November 5th at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. The guys here at A2DRadio.com hope to see you there.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back to the party that is Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com. Brian Daly, Mike Kleinkoff, Matt Sensuti on the ones and twos, and Rob Povey steering the ship, man. Hey, if you're just joining the show, well, you're late. You missed Fresh or Stale already, so you're going to have to rewind to the beginning. Or catch us on the replay, one or the other. If you want to participate live, you can certainly, you got a couple different options. You can vote on our Twitter poll, which is at A2DRadio_com. Who will be the fantasy stud for Week 5? Will be Amari Cooper, Julian Edelman, Carson Wentz, or another option. We'll get to your results later on the show. Right?
Just saw something on Facebook, and I think it's actually kind of funny. It's the power rankings for Week 5. Eagles aren't even in the top 5. So riddle me that. You got the Broncos at number 1, Seattle at number 2, Pittsburgh at number 3, New England at number 4, and Minnesota at number 5.
Those power rankings are garbage.
That's why ESPN is the worldwide leader of bullshit.
That is correct, sir. That's horrible. I think Denver, whatchamacallit, either it should be Denver or Patriots number 1, first of all.
Yeah.
You know, and they do have Denver, so that's the only thing I could agree with. But Patriots should be up high. Well, no, because they took that loss, so that knocks them down a little bit.
Well, yeah, they got shut out.
Yeah, they got shut out. First time. Yeah, we'll get into actually, let's get into that right away. I mean, it was the first time they were shut out since Week 13 back in 1993.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The Bills had a great strategy to stack the box against LeGarrette Blount and make Jacoby Brissett beat them in the air, and it worked. You know, the good news for the Patriots is, as we said before, Mr. Brady will be back.
Mr. Brady's returning.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're going to get right into, the Week 4 review, pick our fantasy studs and duds of the week that was, as you're voting for who will be this week's fantasy stud, and this is being brought to you by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Go visit them, 703 Black Horse Pike, Glendora, New Jersey, or visit them online, sportsoutletinc.com. So what stood out to you, gentlemen, this week in Week 4 in the NFL?
I think we all have an obvious answer.
Yeah.
Julio. That's phenomenal. I think it said he was the 6th player to ever do that in NFL history, and I think I said that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are the first quarterback wide receiver duo to have 500 yards passing and one person have 300 yards receiving.
Wow.
So
phenomenal.
I mean, that's just absolutely insane.
He went to Julio all day, 12 receptions on the day and a touch. Yeah. Phenomenal, man.
If it wasn't for that 75-yard touchdown that he had, he would have probably had 225 yards receiving and
right.
11 touchdowns.
But even still is really impressive.
Just with making the tough catches.
Exactly.
He made so many tough catches in that game. If you had some injury concern for Julio Jones, I think it was put to bed this week.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he is questionable this week for a calf or hamstring injury. I mean, just like every other week.
He did run a lot this week. He ran 300 yards.
But, I mean, Julio, you have to. Absolute stud this week. I'm happy I didn't have to go up against him in any leagues. It sucked not picking him for any daily fantasy leagues. But, if you look at anybody's team that won this week, they had him. I don't know where these people think of these lineups because they're just insane.
Yeah, right.
Actually, hang on. I think I might be able to dispute that. Give me a second.
Well, one thing I want to do, I want to go way back to the Thursday night game real quick because I want to ask you guys a question. Was I watching the Miami Dolphins play on NFL Network or Miami University, the U? Because those jerseys were god-awful ugly. It looked more like Orange Crush than anything else. Just one of the, I mean, all the color rush jerseys, I think you said this, are pretty ugly, but Miami Dolphins are definitely cream of the crop, and the defense is really ruled after a vivacious opening quarter in that game.
Yeah, to be honest, I still haven't seen the Steelers color rush. I haven't even looked into it. But they looked like Miami University, against the NFL team. They looked horrible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was Cincinnati, but whatever.
I mean, it was a great streamer defense to pick. I definitely expected, a low point total from Miami Dolphins, but they certainly coughed up the ball like nobody's business.
They just suck.
Ryan Tannehill went into this season so confident, saying that he was very comfortable in this new offense of his, and he was ready to go, and he thought the Dolphins were going to do good things, and, well, apparently he was wrong.
I think it's time for Adam Gase to go a different direction at quarterback because, I mean, taking over this job during the offseason, he wanted to stick with, what the team had and kind of evaluate from there. Well, you realize that it's straight hot garbage.
I mean,
smelly garbage.
It's not even. It's not even like. I mean, aside from the running game, he's got guys to throw to. It's not like he's got bad receivers on either side.
Right.
So he can't use that as an excuse.
True.
He doesn't really have a tight end, but Jarvis Landry and Devontae Parker are really good wide receivers in this league, and the fact that you can't get them the ball is
it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't even tell you who their backup is, though.
I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah.
I don't even think the Dolphins know yet.
No. I'm going to have to look that one up. I don't know that off the top of my head either.
I really couldn't tell you if they were to even replace him if he were to go down. Who would it even be?
Me. I'll do it.
I might have a better chance. I mean, I could sling the ball a good 25 yards.
I could probably hit 20, 25.
Matt Moore.
He's still around.
Not the pitcher.
Yeah. He is still around. Yeah, I remember.
What did he play for? Carolina?
I want to say Detroit.
He played for.
It was
a
blue team.
He spent a little bit of time in Carolina.
No, Carolina. You're correct, sir. Nice job.
Yeah.
I was confused with Sean Hill. There you go. Yeah, Matt Moore. That's like Dumb and Dumber, really, right there, or worse and worst, in that option. But they may need
pick up Mike Vick.
Yeah,
I bet you he'd do a better job.
Sign me.
I'll
do it.
Brian Daly.
Hey, $100,000. I'll do it.
When you're playing quarterback for Miami Dolphins, will you still come on the show?
Absolutely.
All right, great.
Yeah, I'll make sure I fly up
NFL Insider.
Yeah. You don't even, no, I mean, you don't got to give me a lot of money. Just give me enough to, I can get a new car, nice place, and then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. $100,000 would be good enough for me. I'll play a week for $100,000.
Give me like $500,000. That's it.
$500. You're not asking for a lot, but you're asking for 5 times what I'm asking for.
For an NFL player, that's not
for
a lot.
one game, though.
Nah, I'm talking the rest of the season.
I'll just play one game and I'll tear my ACL or something and I'll be done. I don't care.
I'm 31 years old. I'm not going to get much.
You're in your prime, man. You're in your prime right now.
I think you both are undercutting your value. I think you could definitely be higher than that. But speaking of players' values really going down, and that's on the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I think, it was an early rise in London. I get it this week, but Andrew Luck was sacked 5 times. He just has absolutely no O-line, and that affects all Colts fantasy value moving forward until they shore up that line. I think guys like Dwayne Allen, who continuously disappoints. T.Y. Hilton had a decent game. Philip Dorsett, if it wasn't for that long home run touchdown ball, would have been shut out with a big goose egg because, what deep threat can you go to when you have less than 2 seconds to throw the football? There is none. So all that value, all that hype to Andrew Luck having a rebound season, it's not going to happen until that O-line shored up.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure I picked Andrew Luck as not really having – I don't even think I had him in my top 10 for fantasy quarterbacks this year. So I'm kind of on the right track. Yeah, even though he did have a great game against Detroit. But
I don't think
other
any
than
of us
that
did. No. I think, Rob, you were the only one that had him in the top 10 this year.
Yeah, I was. I mean, like I said, he right off the bat, 385, 4 touchdowns against Detroit, and really has done some.
And really shit the bed after that.
Yeah, I mean, he put up 331 yards against San Diego the week before the Jacksonville matchup, but still only 1 touchdown and 1 interception.
Yeah, but, in your defense in picking him, your quarterback is only as good as your offensive line. If your offensive line serves no protection for your quarterback,
right,
it doesn't matter who you have. He's going to suck.
Right.
Yeah. That's the truth. Absolute truth.
Absolutely. A couple things in the Titans-Texans game. I mean, you mentioned him during Fresh or Stale. DeMarco Murray had himself a day, and he's slowly posting up a 2004. Oh, that was. I'm sorry. Excuse me. That was Mikey.
Yeah,
my bad.
come on.
My bad. Going with DeMarco. I know one of you guys went with DeMarco, but I mean, he's slowly posting up a 2014-like season, and then okay, so that's your boy DeMarco Murray, but your boy Will Fuller had a reception touchdown and a punt return touchdown. First player in Texans history to do that.
Love that
Well,
guy.
they do have a short history. We will give them that.
Yeah.
But, dude, Will Fuller is absolutely insane. I love that I drafted him, too. And, you know, I probably wouldn't have even heard his name if it wasn't for Brian, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after his first week, I was all about him. After his second week, I was really all about him. Week 3, he had a
very slow week. I think he only had like 4.5 points or something for fantasy.
He had 3 in my league,
Oh,
and he came out this week. I mean, it doesn't help that and I'm not trying to spoil anything yet, but his partner in crime wasn't exactly
there
open.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I could tell you he's my dud.
Oh, you stole my surprise.
I can tell you now because I'm pretty sure he's all of our duds for this week.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Yeah, I think 1 catch for 4 yards is a likely recipe for fantasy dud of the week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the good news is this is likely rock bottom for Hopkins. He's too much of a beast to be held down much longer. So be patient with him. But he was definitely a dud.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
week.
I'd still.
I mean, he got thrown to. He had 6 targets on the game, so his double coverage just got the best of him this week.
Yeah, he was irrelevant anyway for me. He might have thrown up the goose egg in my standard league, but I still won by 38.
Right.
So.
Well, I think as Will Fuller continues to have success, he's going to demand attention, which should open it up for Hopkins.
Oh yeah,
I think so too.
Right.
But it's going to be like, all right, so this is the beauty thing about being in Houston right now. You have a guessing game. Who's going to be the guy? Who are we double covering this time? Is it going to be Fuller? Is it going to be Hopkins? So that's going to open up both ends, I think, a little bit more. It's going to be like, all right, we double Hopkins. Fuller's open now. Fuller's going to make a big play. Fuller's double covered. Hopkins is now open. He's going to make a big play. So,
Right.
It's going to turn into a problem for most defenses.
Yeah, definitely.
agreed.
Quickly shifting over to the Seahawks-Jets game. I want to give a little credit to Tom Arnone. He pointed out Russell Wilson never missed a start last week on his shows. And, ironically, he's only missed 1 snap in his football career. Well, Sunday made 78 straight starts, even with that gaudy knee brace. We told you he'd start and have a day, and he did. But the real question is C.J. Spiller worth an ad after Seattle's bye?
I added him. Why not?
You had him right, even with the bye coming up. You
Even
just
with
straight
the
up,
bye
yeah.
I added him last week. I added him as soon as I found out he signed in Seattle. I'm also looking for running back help, so I'm
Me too.
adding and dropping running backs left
too.
and right.
That seems to be the recipe
See,
this
now
year.
I'm mad at myself because I didn't take the chance with Darkwa last night, and he had himself a game. He had like 13 or 14 fantasy points, and I'm mad that I decided to stay with Asiata instead of Darkwa.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, the beauty about it is the NFL in itself is turning into a passing league. C.J. Spiller's a passing back. So, adding him is going to add a little more value to my team, which doesn't have any running game.
Right.
But I might as well add him as an extra wide receiver.
Especially while these guys get the opportunity. Darkwa had the opportunity because you had Shane Vereen and Rashard Jennings out. You got Thomas Rawls, who was only supposed to be out 2 to 4 weeks originally. Now he's out another month after missing 2 weeks already. This might be a long-standing problem with Mr. Rawls there in Seattle. So, yeah, C.J. Spiller, I mean, he's never caught on. He's never enjoyed success on the NFL level that he did at college and all the hype. But, if anybody could make him work, it's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, he ran a route for a touchdown that was just basically right up the middle. Thought maybe Wilson waited a little too long. No, he still got the pass in there, and Spiller had a touchdown in his first catch in Seattle.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you look at it, if it wasn't for that touchdown, he really didn't do much. He only had 12 yards on 2 carries and 5 yards on 2 receptions, but he just got thrown in that offense. Right. He'll have the bye week to be more affluent.
Exactly. He just signed that contract last Wednesday, and they threw him in on Sunday. So I didn't expect him to do much this week. I actually didn't expect him to play at all.
Right.
But the fact that he wound up getting a touchdown in that game was, I think it could be a little promising on his part.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like it especially with Rawls being out too. I think it is going to open up his opportunities for more as a third down back. So,
right. Speaking of that, we had a little, NFL, not history, but, certainly a good debut by Tanner McAvoy for Seattle. He had his first career NFL reception, a 42-yard touchdown catch. Welcome to the league.
Yeah.
But that helped no one, sir, who understands Tyler Lockett owner's pain. Yeah. Certainly, guys, Tyler Lockett's been dropped a lot, and they're looking for, touchdown catches out of him. Well, Tanner McAvoy got it in this game. But congratulations, definitely first career NFL reception being a 42-yard touchdown catch. That's pretty good. People are going to think he made that up.
Some might. And all he's got to say is, hey, here, look at my stats.
Right
here.
Right.
Right there.
Right.
One catch, 42 yards. Yeah, that's me.
That's me. Yeah.
Speaking of guys that helped no one, you had Philly Brown with a touchdown catch for Carolina. That helped no one.
How about John Kuhn?
John Kuhn.
If I'm not mistaken, he had 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns indeed.
And I could guarantee you money he's 0.5% owned in leagues, because who the hell's going to own John Kuhn?
I was going to say that helped no one, but it did help someone. It helped owners going against Mark Ingram. That's who it helped.
Yeah.
Because, those are all touchdowns being vultured from Mark Ingram.
He had like 5 rushes for 3 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So it's like...
And you can't even think about adding him because it's so unpredictable when that'll happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was kind of like, who was it from Detroit a couple of years ago who had 3 touchdowns in like 4 weeks or something like that?
Oh, dude, you're killing me here. I couldn't even tell you.
His name is right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
Well, why you'll have enough time to look that up when I try to pronounce this last name. Another guy that helped no one, CJ Fedoritz, Fidorawicz. Yep.
Yeah.
It looks more like letters I get in Words with Friends. He's not even he actually came and look him up right now, where he's not even available to own in leagues.
That's great.
He had a touchdown reception this year. Of course, C.J. Spiller was a little bit of a helping no one too, as we mentioned before. But yeah, C.J. Fidorawicz. That's a nice fedora.
Yeah, I saw that come up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like,
right.
And the one week I do bench Crabtree for Martin Jones in one of my leagues. Of course, Crabtree goes off, and Martin Jones was kind of
Michael LaShore.
Okay.
LaShore.
Yeah, that was a big. Yeah, I remember that. That was a big not helping no one. Hell yeah.
Picked him up. I picked him up the next week.
Probably did nothing the rest of the year.
Nope.
Another thing I saw this weekend was Devin Hester showing up with a 60-yard punt return. That's where he went. He still got it. He's definitely still got the moves.
Oh yeah,
Devin Hester there. I had no idea where he went to, and apparently that's where he went to. It's out in Ravensville there.
Yeah.
We talked about Jordan Reed erupting. What a game Jordan Reed had for Washington.
Kirk Cousins just had a rough start, but I think he's starting to come around. I think he's starting to settle down a little bit, starting to get a little bit of protection, getting some time to be able to actually throw the ball.
Yeah, and realizing who his talent is. Jordan Reed, 2 touchdowns, 73 yards, 9 receptions on 10 targets. That's when he needs to hit Jordan Reed all day. And then when they start, overhyping Jordan Reed, then you throw the deep ball to Garcon or Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, Garcon didn't do nothing. No.
And don't forget about Crowder. Crowder's had a couple good games this year.
Good point. Very good point. Jamison Crowder was a fantasy darling, a nice waiver wire pickup last week. We'll give you some more this week later on in the show. It behooves me. I got to talk about the Cowboys-Niners game. We both had a pretty good weekend in terms of our fanfare. Down by 14 on the road early, even though there seemed to be more Cowboys fans than Niners fans at Levi Stadium, which is just straight out shameful for the 49ers organization. Dak Prescott, again, showing great composure with 3 touchdowns in 4 drives. And then Ezekiel 25-17, the path of the righteous man, took them to a fantasy glorious day.
Yeah, Zeke is the man. He had a great game. What do you have, like 133, I think he had?
Yep. I'm bringing up his exact numbers now. 138 and a touch. Yep.
Yeah, he definitely had a great game. You know, I'm looking through my phone all since 1 o'clock hits at work. I'm always on my phone all day.
Yeah.
Because, who wouldn't be?
Right.
But I saw that 14-0 at that one point. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is over. I was surprised. But you know what, though? A big name that got hurt this week was Navarro Bowman.
Yep.
And that's huge reason as to why they probably lost that lead.
Yeah, I got an update for him in our injury segment later on in the show. But yeah, I think that did do a huge part, certainly, because they were dominating the early quarter there, and I'm thinking, well, this is what I expected. I think this is the game that the Cowboys blow, and here we go. But Dak really showing good reserve and good composure, which makes this next report even more unbelievable to read. Tony Romo began his rehab this week, and the upper brass still say it's his job when he returns. This makes no sense to me unless Dak starts to struggle. If he starts to struggle, then you're like, okay, he got some game experience. Let him learn under Romo now, whatever, and then eventually he'll take over the torch when Romo's crippled ass called it a career. I mean, I guess Jerry likes turning over the ball because Dak has it, and Romo will.
Yeah.
I don't even think they are sure what they will do.
Yeah.
I got a solution, though. Trade Tony Romo to Cleveland for Terrell Pryor and call it a day.
It is a rookie record for Dak Prescott as well.
Yep.
Most pass attempts without an interception.
Yep.
But they said something about Romo coming back like week 8 or 9 or something like that. That's ridiculous.
Maybe even early as week 7. They're going to rush him back and kill the guy.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do.
Pretty much.
Cowboys suck. Anyway.
I think that's what every fan wants them to do is keep starting Tony Romo until
they're 3-1. Why are you going to? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Let him just become Drew Bledsoe, because that's what Romo outseated Drew Bledsoe. So now you're in it's gone first circle, the circle of life, like the Lion King.
So you trade Tony Romo to a team, and then the team's going to wind up going to the Super Bowl and start somebody like Tom Brady. And then that kid's going to wind up being one of the best of all time.
I'll be fine with that.
That's complete full circle, right?
Yeah, it is full circle.
Right?
You got that right.
All right, cool.
Absolutely. A great matchup that I didn't really get to watch much of because I was watching that Niners-Cowboys game. I didn't watch it much on Red Zone. It was the St. Chargers. It really just an unusual game for both teams, but what was special about it is you had teacher versus pupil. I mean, they were once teammates. Breezy just outlasts Rivers on the scoreboard, but Rivers had the better fantasy day. So it was really a very weird game how it worked out. But Phillip Rivers owners are happy. Drew Brees owners were probably a little left dismayed, but the Saints got the win.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I hate Phillip Rivers. I love him as my fantasy quarterback, but their defense just cannot hold a lead. They're just awful.
Right.
I think they've been leading every game going into the fourth quarter, and they've blown every game.
Yeah.
Like
a cheap pour.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We talked a little. We've been kind of highlighting the Giants-Vikings game all show, it seems like. But, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we had a Cordell Patterson sighting. I mean, trying to get this guy involved, that's North Turner's new goal, is to get this, because the kid's talented and the Vikings offense haven't been able to find a way to get him involved. But, doing jet sweeps with them, a little bit running out of the backfield. He caught a couple catches. I mean, Cordell Patterson isn't fantasy worthy, but you would like to see him contribute towards a Vikings team that, has been, decimated by injury, but still keeps on winning.
That's the truth.
Yeah. He actually had 5 catches on 6 targets, only 38 yards. His long was 21. The rushing attempt that he had, it had a lot of promise, only put up 2 yards, but still, that's the type of way you can get him involved into the passing game and really piss off Stephon Diggs owners in the same breath.
I feel like it seems to be like the trend this year is guys getting a bunch of targets, very little yards.
Yeah.
If you look at who's a perfect example, Golden Tate in Detroit. 2 weeks ago, he had 7, 8 catches on 9 targets, 15 yards.
Yeah. What happened to Golden Tate is the question.
You know what, though? PPR league, I take that any day. You know, that's 11.5 points right there.
Yeah, this is truth. This is definitely truth. All right, so any other things you want to highlight, or should we go right in the fantasy stud and dud?
That's I mean, of course, I would love to talk about Pittsburgh and Kansas City.
Oh, dude, talk about Pittsburgh
I
and
mean,
Kansas City. You have to.
Redemption Sunday, dude. They came right out of the gates, and let me tell you, Le'Veon Bell, 173 total yards. He had 140 yards rushing, or 144. Absolutely insane, and I love the way that they came back and just kicked Kansas City's ass. They were up 36-0 at one point, so I mean, they looked freaking awesome, especially after getting blown out by the Eagles. It was just a great redemption Sunday, and it felt good. It felt good. 3-1 leading division now. I'll take it any day of the week.
Well, I think the Steelers got away from what makes them great in the Eagles game, and they brought that back in this game. I think that's what we saw.
Well, the thing is, we had no run game against the Eagles, which we were empty backfield literally all game against the Eagles.
Right.
So.
Well, they lost their aggression, and they got aggressive on both sides of the ball against Kansas City team. A lot of people picked them to potentially represent the AFC or be one of the top brass. They made them look like hot garbage straight out.
One more thing. Paxton Lynch, when he came in for Trevor Siemian, looked pretty good.
Yes, he did. Right off the bat. Well, that's a good teaser for on the other side. We're going to talk about injuries and waiver ads. But real quick, gentlemen, I know we already talked about fantasy dud. We're all going with DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, it's a given. Is it another given for fantasy stud?
I think so. I have two guys in mind. I have two.
Who's the other one?
Crabtree.
In a monster game, too?
He had 33 points in fantasy, so
yeah,
he was the second best wide receiver for fantasy.
That wasn't where I was going with it.
I was going there. It's Julio or Crabtree.
I was going to say it's either Julio or Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
500 yards, yeah.
I could see that, but...
Yeah, I think all three can, but Julio did something that only 5 other receivers have done in the league. The top guy being 336 yards from Flipper Anderson, I believe, in 89. Came dangerously close. I actually remember that game. I'm old. But I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer. It's Julio Jones in my book.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm gonna argue Crabtree for a second.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna argue with somebody, it's got to be Crabtree or Matt Ryan. I do like that Matt Ryan pick.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have Crabtree. Loved what he did this week with his 3 touchdowns, but he only had 88 yards receiving.
Yeah, but the 3 touchdowns and the 7 receptions.
You could, if that's the case, then you can make an argument for Kuhn, who had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all he had was 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he had 3 yards rushing.
I mean, it's not like he had 3 touchdowns and 125 yards
I would go Crabtree 100 times out of 100 days. Over John Kuhn. Come on.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, obviously Kuhn. Both of their 3 touchdowns led them to victory, but.
That's awesome. That's a good point to break on right now. Oh, we're having too much fun. It's like a party, and if you're having a party, contact Liberty Event Rentals, 267-314-7368, or you can check them out online, libertyeventrentals.com. They rent you tents, chairs, tables, linens, everything you need for that special occasion. The only thing they don't do, like Maddie says, is take away your garbage. Your hot garbage. Like we saw a lot in Week 4 in the NFL. Well, we're about midway through the show, and we're about midway through the recap of Week 4. We're going to get into the injuries and what waiver wire advice we have for you on Waiver Wire Tuesday. You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com. If you want in on the dominance, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search A2DRadio.com. If you got fantasy questions, tweet us with the hashtag AskFDN. And today we are sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants. Schedule an appointment, 215-369-3300. Visit them in person, 301 Oxford Valley Road, Yardley, Pennsylvania. Great guys, great sponsor here at A2DRadio.com. We talked about fresh or stale, who should you start and who should you sit in Week 5 in the NFL. We talked about, Week 4, what went down, what's going to, sort of incorporate who we're starting and sitting this week, what news and notes, what fantasy studs and duds existed. There's still time to vote for who will be the fantasy stud for Week 5 in the NFL. You can go to our Twitter handle at A2DRadio_com and vote in. We'll get to your results later on in the show. But so we talked about what happened. We started to allude towards some injury talk that went down, and it wasn't a lot of injuries, which is good, which is fortunate for most fantasy owners, but there was some key injuries. Starting off with one guy you mentioned right away, Navarro Bowman. He's out, season-ending torn Achilles injury. It's devastating for 49ers, devastating for IDP owners as he's owned in 89.2% of leagues, and probably most devastating for Mr. Fresh as a 49er fan and Navarro Bowman owner. So, yeah, definitely a bad injury. There's certainly a guy you can always pick up, if Jamie Collins is available in your league. Even Freeman from the Bears. Michael Freeman is an absolute tackling machine.
I have a name, but I can't say his name till later.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because you're in my
Jarrell
league.
Freeman, excuse me.
You're in my league, so I can't tell you anything right now because I need a linebacker. So,
dude, I got Quan Alexander, the aforementioned Jamie Collins, and Jarrell Freeman. I think I'm good on linebacker.
Yeah, but this guy's an absolute stud.
Yeah,
and took over one of the positions, so I can't tell you.
All right, you can gloat next week then. Yeah. Absolutely. I want to start off with Cam Newton. Being diagnosed in the league's protocol for concussion. I think his example is cockiness got the best of him, and he even admitted he shouldn't have let up crossing the goal line and deserved getting smacked. Now, the problem is if he doesn't clear the protocol by Saturday, he plays Monday night, so he's really a murky quarterback to rely on this week. I could advise grabbing Jameis Winston He's playing in the same game. So, if Cam's healthy and you want to go with him, you can start him. If not, you can go with Jameis Winston if he's available in your league, that is.
Hey, Derek Anderson didn't look too bad either.
Yeah, true
I
that.
mean, I wouldn't pick him up. There's better options, but Derek Anderson didn't look too bad.
Maybe the Panthers won't be – they're still pretty worse off, don't you think, Brian, without, Cam Newton, Derek Anderson. But it showed that maybe they're not hopeless.
Yeah.
No, they're not hopeless, but, not having Cam Newton is going to hurt this offense.
Oh, yeah. They already don't have a run game with, Stewart out.
Stewart's out, and then you got Forrest Whitaker or Fozzie or whatever.
I always call him Forrest, too. I don't know why.
The actor.
Yeah, that's why.
And then you got
the butler. Come on now.
What's his name? Chris Artis-Payne backing him up.
Yeah.
You have a run game, and now you lose another rushing option with Cam Newton. What else?
Yeah. They don't need to lose Cam.
No, they can't afford to lose. I don't think they can really afford to lose Cam at this point.
That's for sure.
I think I was seeing somewhere what they're after having a dynamite regular season last year. They're 1-5. Including the Super Bowl, and so it would be 1-4 at this point. The Panthers. I don't know. Derek Anderson may be able to keep their head above water if he's out for a few games, but if it's a serious concussion, man, that's bad for the Panthers. But Jameis Winston, on the other hand, he is only owned in 59.2% of leagues, so chances are, you got a 50-50 shot of him being available if you are a Cam Newton owner.
No, I would absolutely go after Jameis Winston. He hasn't been too bad. He's the same type of running or quarterback as Cam Newton is.
Right. And plus, going against those weak-ass corners on the Panthers, let's pick on them a little bit more as their whole fan base starts to shift towards Seattle again.
Don't say that to a certain Dan Fritz. He might he might have a little reply for you there.
No, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Want to bring up, Mikey, a guy you mentioned earlier, Trevor Siemian, has a shoulder injury. He may not partake in much practice, but a decision on whether he's healthy enough to start Sunday against the Falcons will come at the end of the week. Mike Kliss of 9 News Denver reports. So, but Paxton Lynch did the job. Did the job well. What's with rookie quarterbacks this year?
They're pretty damn good, actually.
Minus Jared Goff.
Yeah, minus Jared. That's interesting. Yeah, I saw this stat. It showed the top 6 quarterbacks drafted in this league. That wasn't supposed to be a big quarterback draft, right? The other 5 are doing quite well for themselves. Jared Goff is still sitting on the bench.
Third stringer, I believe.
Yeah,
he's third string, which is
Paxton Lynch didn't do bad. 170 yards, 1 passing touchdown. For what, maybe half a game?
Yeah.
So, that's not bad.
No, I think you did pretty damn good.
Hey, you're starting to see it when you have a nice system like the Patriots and Denver do. You plug and play.
Yeah, brisket, man.
Sticking with or going back to the concussion symptoms, Carson Palmer was showing a lot of concussion symptoms. He's unlikely to play. So I'd say you'd have to add or go with the aforementioned Carson Wentz. That would be a good sub in for Carson Palmer. I'm going to bring up the latest on him right now, but he's in the league's protocol. He seems unlikely to play, and it's a Thursday night game. That's what makes it even more difficult. Yeah, against the Niners. So. Let's see here. Head coach Bruce Arians said Palmer looked good Tuesday morning and still has a shot to play Thursday's game against San Francisco. I think you grab a backup just in case because it's not like Carson Palmer has been doing all that great this year. He had 4 interceptions against Buffalo 2 weeks ago, only 1 touchdown and 1 interception last week.
Yeah, he's not the Palmer that everybody had high expectations on. So, maybe do you trade him possibly for another quarterback right now? He's not valued high, but do you take that chance and maybe try to get somebody throwing like a running back and him for an A1 steak sauce? Or
I'd wait for him. There's for the best of right there, no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, I would wait for that. He have one comeback game where, like, maybe you pick on a weaker defense.
Yeah.
You know, let's say if he does play this week, right, and plays the Niners defense minus Navarro Bowman and lights it up, then you pull you make a trade right away. It'd be like, oh yeah, Palmer's back. Sell high, sell high. That's what I would do if I were a fantasy owner.
I sell high on everybody.
Yeah.
Give you a hot piece of trash, and I'm trying to sell high on them.
Yep.
I mean, I kind of hope Carson Palmer doesn't play this week only because the guy I'm playing has him. Same with Eric Decker, but Eric Decker's probably more than likely not playing.
By the way, I am in the hole for our hockey fantasy draft.
Yeah, you're in the hole?
I'm in the hole.
Oh, they finally moved on? It only took them.
I think I've handed in every pick at least 2 or 3 minutes after he's texted me.
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't need 5 hours to answer.
Yeah.
I must be far behind.
Some people are married, got the kids,
Nah,
you know.
I understand.
So
Losers.
Is Mike the Commissioner not doing this over here anymore? Because I haven't gotten an update in a while.
Don't know. I dropped out of that group.
I noticed.
Yeah.
You drop out of everything now. Yeah, that's Mataraki. Every time there's like a Twitter message, first one gone. He didn't even look at it.
Peace. Well, he's got like 50 million notifications. You got to curtail him somehow. I can identify. There's no doubt about it. You know, I want to quickly talk about. You know, there's a lot of wide receivers to pick from this week in terms of who you can add. You can add a Dontrell Inman, Robert Wood, Bobby Woods. For taking the place of Sammy Watkins while he's out. Bryce Butler doing his best Des Bryant imitation, looked really good in the Niners-Cowboys game. If you had a choice, gentlemen, between these three, who are you adding? Dontrell Inman, Robert Woods, or Bryce Butler?
Wow. I don't know how big of a role Inman's going to have. That's my only question. I think he had a great game. I think he had 7 catches, 100-something yards.
120.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a touchdown.
Yep.
But this is the first I've heard of his name, you know.
He was a streamer last year, and he's a good deep threat. And initially when Allen went down with the ACL injury, they were talking up him, right? But the difference is you got Benjamin this year where you didn't have him last year.
To me, I think the safest way is going with Woods.
Yeah.
To me, yeah.
I don't like him. I don't like him. Like Sidney Crosby to Flyers fans, I just don't like him.
Yeah.
I feel like Robert Woods is always hurt, though, too. So, I mean.
Yeah.
You got to worry about that.
That's tough. I mean, give me another week with Inman, and if he gives me 5 catches for 80 yards, I'm all in.
See, I'm familiar with Inman from studying him last year. The kid's got a lot of talent. He can be that deep threat. I already have an ad claim in for him. I'm going with Inman. I don't want to take that chance that he lights it up again and then I'm shut out for him. I always like to be proactive instead of reactive. But I dig what you're saying, though. You need to see a little more.
Yeah, but like you said, seeing a little more might be a little too late.
Right. Does Bryce Butler enter the conversation at all? Because even when Dez comes back, Terrence Williams has been hit or miss. Bryce Butler looked good. He looked really good this week. He had minimal yards. I think he had like 40 yards, but he had 1 touchdown catch, and he had another one that was just narrowly dropped. He could have easily had 2 on the day.
There's a lot of targets in Dallas.
Yeah.
So that's a tough question, man.
Right.
That's definitely a tough question. There's so many targets in Dallas. I mean, you can't forget about Witten. Like you said, Williams. You got Cole Beasley, and then Zeke in the backfield.
Yep.
So it's a lot. He's going to have to spread the ball out a lot because he's got great receivers. And, obviously with Dez being out, I think he is a great fill-in. So
right.
I don't know, man. You got us. You got me anyway.
I mean, maybe Inman. I mean, Keenan Allen's a little more of a long-term injury, but I don't know how long Bryant's going to be out. So how long is Butler going to have value for? I think that's another thing you really got to ask yourself.
I think that's a key question. I think we're getting down to the consensus that maybe none of these are worth adding at this point. I mean, I'm going for Inman, though, because I do need another wide receiver after trading Decker. I have Adam Humphries. Maybe I could if I don't get Inman, Adam Humphries is still not a bad guy to have, but it looked like Vjax was back last week, and Humphries only had 1 catch for 4 yards.
We're forgetting Eddie Royale here.
Eddie Royale with cheese. Yeah. Eddie Royale might supersede all of them. Yeah.
Right? I mean, 3 touchdowns. I shouldn't say 3. 2 receiving touchdowns, 1 return for a touchdown. He's got almost 250 receiving yards.
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue with that, man. I thought about adding him as a late pickup this weekend before the games for wide receiver depth. I wound up going Adam Humphries instead. I probably should have went.
Currently have a claim on Eddie Royal. Hopefully none of the guys that are in my league are listening.
Eddie Royal with cheese. Nice.
Let's do it.
Nice. We mentioned earlier in the show, bears repeating again, for running back ads, Terrence West makes it for a good pickup this week. He has a good matchup versus Washington, and I rate him a top 25 back. I mean, eventually add Kenneth Dixon if available for long term, but even if he does debut this weekend, I really feel he'll be limited. He'll be on a snap count, so to speak. So Terrence Williams, I think, would be a good ad for running back. Any other running backs you think are worth adding this week?
I don't have a running back, but I do have a running back. I have Orleans Darkwa.
Yeah.
See, that's tough because I don't know when Rashard Jennings is coming back.
Right.
And I think once Jennings come back, I think Darkwa. I mean, he's going to be a third down back for sure.
Right.
But with Vereen out for the season, but I don't know. It's tough. I mean, maybe he could take that starting role.
He might be able to take the starting role. I mean, if he continues to perform like he did on Monday, I think he could steal the starting job away from him.
Right.
Yeah. They still got another matchup against Washington, so that will help Darkwa's fantasy value because Washington's run defense sucks.
Right.
But then again, you still got 2 matchups against the Eagles. So you just got to look up at matchups at that point. So I mean, there's still a lot of division games left to be played. I know the Steelers themselves have 5. So
I do have another
matchups.
I do have another a claim that people should probably consider, and this is a little bit of a surprise.
I like that smirk on your face when you say this is going to be good.
Yeah, Sam Bradford.
Yeah, Sammy Sleeves slinging it.
He's been. I think he finally found a system that works for him.
Yeah,
he has 2 games where he's thrown for over 250 yards, which is probably about average for a quarterback. But 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. In 3 games. I think once he gets his receiver set up the way he wants them to be, and they actually, do a better job of catching the ball, Sam Bradford will be a really good guy to have on your bench for a bye week.
Oh, absolutely. During the game last night, they showed up a QB comparison between Bradford and the guy that took over in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz, and everybody's high on the Wentz wagon right now. Sammy Sleeves, I think he had 30 to 50 less throwing yards, but everything else mirrored each other. Now, granted, that's, I think, more of a compliment to Carson Wentz and how far he's accelerated new to the league, but the Eagles shows the Eagles would have been fine either way, and now the Vikings are very fine with Sam Bradford. Maybe your fantasy team could be fine with Bradford as well.
But will the Eagles still be 3-0 at this point if they still had Bradford?
Based on the stats, yeah.
I think they would be 2-1.
Yeah.
I think they would have lost to Pittsburgh with Bradford in.
Think so?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, they don't. Yeah, maybe Pittsburgh plays it a little differently.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more aggressive, like they did against the Chiefs. Yeah.
That's how they needed to play.
Right. Yeah.
I would have liked to at least see a touchdown on the board in that game.
I mean, Bradford would be a phenomenal bye week substitution for any team.
I like it, but I also like Carson Wentz as a bye week quarterback.
He's my bye week quarterback this week.
Oh yeah.
Drew Brees is on a bye this week.
He's only 34.4% owned in the ESPN league, so
yeah.
I mean, snatch him up. I'll see if I can trade him. Maybe I can get a Matt Ryan.
He's my predicted fantasy stud for this week. So now you're sipping the Pove Kool-Aid right now. I love it.
Mine's still Edelman.
Yeah.
Hey,
the Jonestown juice.
we'll get to those results. Hey, if Carson Wentz is owned already, add Brian Hoyer. I know what you're thinking, but he had a fine game against the Lions and facing Indianapolis D, coming back from over the pond on short rest. I think he's good if your starter is on bye. If you're a Bortles owner, I think Brian Hoyer or I'm starting Carson Wentz this week.
Me too.
Yeah. We're in it together. Yeah. That's right. That is correct, sir.
I don't have a choice though. He's my backup quarterback, and Drew Brees is on a bye. I'm not risking running somebody else on a bye this week and expecting to still put up 150 points.
I have a theory about that Eagles-Steelers game real quick.
Uh-oh.
I think Tomlin's a Carson Wentz owner in fantasy.
Could be.
That's what I think it is.
Be.
Yeah, he's like, we'll just throw this game away. It's an AFC NFC game. It really won't matter to tiebreakers.
I don't know if you caught any of the game, but there was a what was it? It was the roughing the passer call.
Right.
That had to have been the most favorable roughing the passer call I've seen in my life. Okay, he literally got tapped that hard and he flopped on the ground and they were like, oh my God, like every single ref, the ref that was in the backfield saw it, with the wide receivers, like. I've never seen – it was the worst roughing the passer call I may have ever seen. And then Roethlisberger gets slammed after the whistle gets blown and nothing even happened.
Nothing.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know what game I was watching. It may have been an Eagles game, but somebody came in and just barely tapped the helmet of whoever the quarterback was. And there was a roughing the passer call.
I know.
I'm like, really?
I can't forget the game, but I remember seeing that, and they're like, yeah, because it's illegal hands to the face or whatever, or
really? You
head contact to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Come on.
But I was so mad because, the game was already out of hand. But when they're getting calls like that, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And, it's just ridiculous.
It's just like baseball, and it's just like hockey. NFL's getting a little too soft.
Oh, yeah. They're getting soft.
And how do we spell it? SAWFT. Soft.
I'm surprised Matty didn't join you on that one.
He's listening to his music for the show. He's not really paying attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Just busting your guy. Hey, the next segment, though, we're talking fantasy hockey, man. You be in on that, man. We got a winning team. Vic Rattleheads. In it to win it, baby.
You got to beat me first.
Yeah, we're in the same division this year.
We are in the same division this year.
Yeah, I'm there.
Did you win it? We didn't win the whole thing. We still beat you. That's fine. You still didn't win it.
We're in it to win
That's
it.
That's like, all right, let's go.
Hey, you know where we can all be winners? At the BMW Atlantic City dealership, They challenged their sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save right now. Lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37 off the Parkway, or check them out online, BMWAtlanticCity.com. On the other side,
that's perfect because I'm in the market for a new car.
Bam.
Bam.
320i, man. I want to ride.
I'll give you a ride.
Nice. On the other side, we're going to give some MLB love, and fantasy championship love to those that won like me. And we're going to talk a little fantasy hockey. We're in a draft right now, an epic dynasty draft right now. We're going to talk about some top-ranked players, some sleepers, and all that and more. Stay tuned. Fantasy Dominance now here on A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
You're listening to Fantasy Dominance Now, only on A2DRadio.com.
Welcome back to today's Fantasy Dominance Now here on A2DRadio.com. You want in on the dominance like us? Well, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You search A2DRadio.com. You got fantasy questions. Where are you, people? I've been checking on Twitter. You got to tweet them with the hashtag AskFDN. If you're catching us on the replay, it's after the show. We'll get back to you. We'll make sure your lineups are set for Week 5 in the NFL. If you are re-listening to the show, then you already heard fresh or stale for Week 5, our fantasy advice on who you should start, who you should sit, reviewed Week 4, gave lots of waiver claim advice and injury updates. So definitely go back to the beginning of the show and check that out. So speaking of Twitter, we got some hot poll results, and I want to get to them right away. We asked you who will be the fantasy football stud of Week 5 in the NFL. Got 2 different polls going right now. We got the Stations one, and I did this by design. I wanted to poll like 2 different groups of people, trying to take the temperature of maybe many different fan bases. On the Station poll, we got 62% go with Carson Wentz, 23% go with Amari Cooper, 8% go with Julian Edelman, and 7% went with other. No comments on who those others might be, but there are some definitely other viable options. We talked about them in Fresh or Stale. Also, in another poll put out, let me see. Let me just get to that really quickly. Yeah, it was a narrower race, but with 42% of the vote, Amari Cooper took that. So I'm really thinking Carson Wentz, Amari Cooper are good. Julian Edelman was second in that poll with 23% of the vote. I think all 3 of these guys are going to have monster games this week, but I think it's no doubt it could be Carson Wentz, it could be Amari Cooper. I know on Facebook, Nikki Jules, who chimed in, he said he's hoping for Cooper to break out this week, considering Jason Verrett will be on Crabtree most, if not the whole game, according to his opinion. So starting to talk to what the point you made earlier in the show, Mike, about Crabtree getting a little more attention should free it back up for Cooper. Hopefully the same thing happens for DeAndre Hopkins on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I hope not, because I'm an owner of Crabtree and of Will Fuller, so don't double up on that. I mean, I'm just saying, Amari Cooper is going to be more open with the way Crabtree's been playing. He's been a target monster.
I got you.
But I own Fuller and I own Crabtree in most of my leagues, so please don't.
I own both of my leagues, so I'm with you on
I
that.
don't own Amari Cooper in any leagues, but I do own DeAndre Hopkins in our station league, which I'm in first place in.
Hey-o.
Yeah, get at me.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely
I'd rather
love it. Oh, boy. Well, yeah, the MLB season has come to an end, and so has your fantasy baseball playoffs. Congratulations to all the winners out there like myself.
Mm-hmm.
toot my own horn again. The most egotistical man on this panel. Oh, by the way, this panel is Brian Daly, Mike Kleinkoff, Matt Sensuti producing on the ones and twos. And I'm Rob Povey. I'm going to give you some baseball news that completed this great season. You have the AL batting leaders, Jose Altuve with a .338 batting average, Mark Trumbo with 47 homers, and Edwin Encarnacion and David Ortiz, 127 RBIs each.
Old guys.
Old guys. David Ortiz, 1.021 OPS. Having the greatest final season ever?
Possibly.
Oh, yeah.
See if he can bring home that ring one more time.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Absolutely.
It's definitely possible.
Absolutely. AL pitching leaders, Rick Porcello, 22 wins. Aaron Sanchez, 3.00 ERA even. Justin Verlander led the league with a 1.00 whip and 254 Ks, showing that, yeah, he can pitch well even when shacked up with Kate Upton.
You know, that's a good bounce-back year for him.
It is. It really is.
So
Big time, big time. Zach Britton topped the charts with 47 saves. Moving on to the National League, NL batting leaders, DJ LeMahieu, 348 batting average, outlast Daniel Murphy. Yeehaw!
I was a DJ LeMahieu owner.
Nice, nice. Yeah, you were high on him all year, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, with good cause. Sticking with Colorado, Nolan Arenado tied Chris Carter with 41 homers apiece. Nolan Arenado topped the NL with 133 RBIs. And here's where Daniel Murphy chimes in. He tied Joey Votto with a 9.985 OPS. The NL pitching leaders, you got Max Scherzer with 20 wins, a .97 whip, and 284 Ks.
Straight.
Yeah. Yeah, you think he's got Cy Young?
Oh, yeah.
All the way?
Yeah.
See,
well, you know, I heard a big talk with Jose Fernandez, and, you know, obviously it sucks for the other pitchers, but Jose Fernandez undefeated at home, absolutely phenomenal, and it's a shame because you know they almost lost Marcell Ozuna too.
Yeah,
because he was supposed to go out with him that night.
Yes,
so it could have been even worse.
That was a good reason to have wife and kids.
Yeah,
because that's why he stayed home.
Yeah,
definitely.
He told him it was a bad idea to go out too.
Brian, who would you give the Cy Young to? Scherzer based on the merit, or Fernandez based on the merit and honoring his you know, the young player's legacy?
That's tough. I mean, it is tough because I don't like seeing awards given just to give it to him.
Yeah.
Whether he earns it or not is another story. I think Jose Fernandez does deserve it. I definitely think Scherzer deserves it, but I don't know.
You gotta go with the numbers.
Yeah.
Go
I think if Jose was still here, I think it would be Scherzer.
Right.
But people want to remember Jose Fernandez as, you know, a great pitcher.
Right.
And to have some kind of award behind his name too would only benefit him more.
Well, if he doesn't win the Cy Young, he'll definitely win the Roberto Clemente. Because, I mean, Jesus, talk about their lives being in parallel.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could be a great pitcher and never win a Cy Young award.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I mean, oh, yeah.
He doesn't need the Cy Young to be remembered for what he did.
But he was definitely on top for the running of it, you know.
No disagreement there.
Right.
No argument.
Absolutely. Kyle Hendricks topped the NL with 2.13 ERA, and Jeurys Familia, 51 saves on the year. We got the 2017 MLB draft order taking shape. The Twins will pick number 1 because of the worst team in baseball. Read my power rankings. Followed by Reds, Padres, Rays, and Braves.
Wow, Braves got it down to the top 5.
Yeah, because they did well. I mean, they would have been closer to the Twins, but that offense, you said it was great for them to add Matt Kemp, and Matt Kemp has spark plugged that offense. That offense could be dangerous. I'm flexing like Hulk Hogan over here. I love it. I love it. Speaking of Mark Trumbo, mentioned in 47 homers, topping in the AL, is the 4th straight Orioles hitter to lead the MLB in home runs following Chris Davis, who did it in 2013 and 2015, and Nelson Cruz when he was with the O's in 2014. Wow. So 4th straight Orioles hitter to lead the league in homers. I thought that was pretty interesting.
They were a power team.
Even more interesting, Rangers' Rune Odor, 33 homers, 19 walks, is the first player in history to hit 30-plus homers and walk fewer than 20 times in a non-strike shortened season. That just goes,
And he's got a knockout.
And he's
you beat me to it.
Oh, man.
Oh, I hate you. I hate you so much.
That is great. Mets' Curtis Granderson and Cards' Jed Jerko both had 59 RBIs this season, fewest ever in a 30-home run season. That tops Rob Deere and Felix Mantilla with 64. So, I mean, it goes to show the trends that people don't mind. They don't mind striking out for the sake of the long ball. They don't mind, those solo bombs. People just aren't getting on base like they used to.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
That is a pretty impressive stat, though.
Yeah.
30 home runs and 59, or would you say 59? Or
Yeah, 59.
That's crazy.
Yeah, with 30-plus homers.
Well, I mean, Granderson is more of a leadoff guy.
Right. That's why why he was doing that. He was shifted to the cleanup role later on in the season when they got Jose. Right.
Yeah, and don't forget, the guys that typically hit for more home runs are going to strike out more.
Right. Yeah.
Ryan Howard, who just played his last game as a Philly, is
great.
He's example number 1 there.
I'd like to see that trend change because it should be an embarrassment to strike out. I don't know.
I mean,
old school like that.
You have exceptions to the rule, though. You have guys like Albert Pujols who hit for average, hit for power. You have guys like Mike Trout who hits for average, hits for power.
Yeah.
I mean, there are exceptions to each and every rule.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Exceptions to every rule. The one exception to that rule, as another example, is Tigers' Miguel Cabrera hits an absurd .565 with a 1.714 OPS to claim AL Player of the Week ending the season. Padres' Hunter Renfroe has 13 RBIs to win the NL award.
Wow. Yeah, Miguel Cabrera's he's an even better example. He never strikes out. It's very rare that he strikes out.
Right.
And I'm not going to forget this. This is awesome because I was watching this game. Jeremy Hellickson struck out Miguel Cabrera on, I want to say it was a breaking ball in the dirt. Mm-hmm. And as he was about more than halfway through his swing, Cabrera knew that he was struck out. He let his one hand go and just gave Hellickson a thumbs up.
That's great. That's great. Oh, I love that.
Right, it was awesome. He's like, that's basically what he said. He's like, all right, you got me.
Right. Just to wrap up this MLB, because I want to give some love to fantasy hockey before we got to wrap up. Walt Weiss steps down as Rockies manager. That's not a big surprise. Even less of a surprise is White Sox named Rick Renneria manager, replacing Robin Ventura, who just did nothing as manager for the Chicago White Sox. And the D-backs part ways with both GM Dave Stewart and manager Chip Hale. They seriously underperformed this year. Greinke notwithstanding, and enjoy the wild card games, people. They're going to be great.
Remember when both Chicago teams were ahead of their division?
Yeah. What, back in April?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were talking big about the White Sox, and they final play.
And real quick, I just got one in. Was Bud Black is a front runner for the Braves job.
He's great. He's a great manager. I could see that. He did well with the Padres.
As well as you can do with a team like that.
So, fantasy hockey. I had my draft last night.
What do you mean you had your draft? Oh,
I had one of my drafts.
Yeah,
I did a draft with a couple friends last night. I took Connor McDavid first with the 8th pick.
This year I took Andrei Vasilevsky number 1.
That's great. Connor McDavid. Austin Matthews went a little bit low. I thought he was going to be the first pick overall, and he didn't get picked in the first round. It was unbelievable.
No, he got picked number 2 overall in ours.
Number 2 overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, he was on the board. And
he was on the board for me.
I was like, I'll take Matthews. And he's like, nah, dude, he was like number 2 pick. I'm like, well, why is he still on the board?
Yeah, right? I mean, at that point,
maybe he's
I'm
saving
looking,
it for himself.
Yeah, because I'm waiting to see what happens with Kari Lettinen. So I went after another goaltender. I went after Andrei Vasilevsky, who I think is a really good option. I have a very strong feeling that he will be the starter in Tampa Bay before midseason because they will trade away Ben Bishop. Ben Bishop will find a new home. And then I went, who else did I get? I drafted defenseman Kevin Kline, and I drafted, who was my offensive player that I drafted?
While you're looking that up real quick on YouTube, we have somebody chiming in asking, Carson Wentz or Eli? I'm biased towards Wentz since he went to my university, but Eli has been the shit. I don't know. I can't agree with that. Eli has been the shit.
Who's the Giants playing now?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, Giants are playing
Green Bay.
They're
playing Green Bay
which
Sunday night.
Which is actually a good matchup. Surprisingly, you would think that it wouldn't be as good, but it's actually a pretty good matchup.
But I mean, definitely the Giants have more weapons to me than the Eagles do against Detroit's defense. I mean, Green Bay's defense to me is a little bit better than Detroit's.
Right.
But I think I might side with Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can raise a good point. I think both are good starts. I'm enamored with taking advantage of that Detroit Lions secondary.
Yeah.
But Carson Wentz is a rookie. Eli's been doing it for a long time.
There's way too many more weapons in New York.
I'm going Wentz. You're going Eli. Brian,
Eli.
what's the tiebreaker?
I'm going Wentz.
Yeah.
I just like the matchup better against Detroit.
I mean, I do too, but I like the experience, like you said, and the favorable, targets for Eli compared to just pretty much Matthews.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for chiming in. Really appreciate that. We didn't spend a lot of time on fantasy hockey. I went too long-winded with the baseball, but
okay.
I was saying bye to baseball. We'll save it more for next week. We'll definitely.
At least our draft will be done next week.
Pirates are the first team to tie since 2006.
There you go. Nice. Nice. Just want to let you people know about the BMW Atlantic City dealership one last time. They challenge its sales team. They must sell 100 vehicles, which means you save. Right now, lease a certified pre-owned elite 2016 BMW 320i with xDrive, just $299 a month for 36 months. The ultimate driving experience is closer than you think. BMW of Atlantic City, easy to get to, minutes off of exit 37 on the Garden State Parkway or online, bmwatlanticcity.com. Catch the Hockey Happy Hour, 2:45 today, half an hour, double dipping, Maddie, Brian, and myself. We'll catch you next time, people. Good luck in Week 5.